Hello, everybody. This is Ryan Lanier of Organizing for Good. My favorite time of the week is when I get to share the mission of an area nonprofit because of all the good that they're doing out there. And I know that it is a good thing for people to know about. And it's just one of my passion projects. So today I'm going to be speaking with Alicia Henderson, who is working with Girls on the Run. And I'm so excited to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. So not all nonprofits I have a direct connection with, but I did actually volunteer as a coach with Girls on the Run. So this is a little bit like, a blast from the past because we actually met in person. Yeah. What was that? Must have been 5 years ago.
I think it was 5 years ago.
Oh, I love how life is so circular.
Yes.
So awesome. Well, I want you to go ahead and introduce what is Girls on the Run and how do you do what you do?
Okay, great. So Girls on the Run, as you mentioned, is a nonprofit. The Austin Council has been around for about 12 years, and we are part of Girls on the Run International. So those of you watching might be thinking, oh, I have a niece or a nephew, or not a nephew, I have a niece or, a daughter that does Girls on the Run in another state. And so there are 220-ish councils of Girls on the Run nationwide. And so we're a part of that movement. Girls on the Run started 25 years ago. Actually, tonight is our 25th year anniversary celebration.
Tonight? Are you serious?
Yeah, we're going to have Hoda
awesome.
Be the keynote speaker. Obviously, it's a virtual event. But anyway, it was started 25 years ago by a woman who noticed when she was growing up that people in her life tried to put her in what she called the girl box. So it was, be smart, but don't be too smart. Know the answers to the questions, but don't raise your hand and speak out in class. Be fast, but don't beat the boys. And so I know probably all the women watching are nodding. So she started Girls on the Run in an effort to mitigate that and to empower young women to find what makes them unique and what their strengths are, and to not be afraid to let that shine. So when she started in North Carolina, I think she had like 6 or 8 girls. I know she used to do the trainings for our first couple council directors in her basement. And it really was a grassroots movement that now has served well over 1 million girls.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's saying something.
Right. Yeah.
And what do you do? What is?
So I'm the executive director. Here in Austin, in a normal year, we impact right around 450 girls through 2 seasons. We have a fall and a spring season that are independent of each other. Most of our girls are between 3rd and 5th grade. We do have a middle school program that's phenomenal. It's just a little harder for us to capture those middle school girls because they get busy doing other things. But the season lasts 10 weeks. And I always like to tell people, I feel like our name is a little bit of a misnomer because it's so much, it's really not a running program. It's a positive youth development program that integrates running.
Yes.
So, and Ryan, you probably remember there's a curriculum that goes with the program, and it leads girls through a series of social and emotional learning skills lessons and gives them the tools to face life at an age that can be kind of icky, that preteen, early teen period of time when you're not so comfortable with your body image, or you're having trouble with friends at school who are not maybe real friends. Covers concepts like popularity versus true friendship. And then we cap it off with encouraging the girls to think in a more broad manner and do a community service project together.
Yep.
So the running is woven into that as a means to encourage our girls to get active and set goals. So they definitely do run. And at the end of the season, the girls complete a 5K.
Mhm.
which is obviously pretty amazing. I mean, I was like
Oh, yeah.
28 when I did my first 5K.
Mm.
So, to see an 8 or 9 year old girl come into the program who can't run more than 100 yards without getting a side stitch, be able to complete a 5K at the end of 10 weeks is really something that's pretty impactful to see.
I still, that's still with me. I can think of a
Yeah.
couple of girls that just right here remind me. And then a few that really figured out how incredibly naturally talented at running they were. That was another surprise for some of them.
There was one little girl that I ran a 5K with at one of our 5Ks. She needed a running buddy, and the coach had thrown her knee out. And she said, "This girl's pretty fast. Can you run with her?" And I said, "Well, I'm pretty fast. I mean, I have long legs. It's not like I'm a great athlete, but I'm pretty fast just because I have long legs." Okay, we finished the 5K in like 22 minutes. It was insane. And I kept saying, "Do you want to stop and get water?"
Hello.
She was like, "No, why?"
Wow.
I mean, she was so good. And at the end, her mom was saying, she's thinking she wants to quit running. And I was like, no, don't let her quit. She's just a natural. So yeah, that's fun to see too.
It can be a lifelong gift. I interviewed Paul Carrazza,
Yes.
and I really there, that is definitely a running program, but really the main thing was the lifelong gift
Yeah.
that can be received from movement. I mean, I know this word exercise is, can be triggering. So I love the word movement, and, then you can make that whatever you want. So I love that so much. But, it's funny when you talk about the curriculum. I still remember when we would talk about let's see, plugging into your own power or your
Yeah,
own
your star
sparkly
power.
light, your star power. And I
Yeah.
do remember kind of visualizing with the girl, like the girls, like think about plugging that into like the top of your head.
Yes.
That just still comes back to me because that is so huge. The messages and this was when I was doing it, social media wasn't even half the power force it is now.
Right.
So I imagine that the curriculum has been updated to include all the social media that's now like filters and perfectionism and whew.
We do actually. One of my favorite lessons, you probably did it, is a lesson on beauty, and the whole thing centers around how beauty is not just how someone looks.
Right.
It's
Yes.
a beautiful moment between two people, or being kind, or saying I'm sorry, or how it's so much more than skin deep.
Right.
So yeah, it really encourages girls to kind of think outside the box on what really is beautiful, not just duck face lips and filtered
We could,
social media pictures.
we
So
could be here a while if we got on that topic for
yeah.
sure. So, and it is just an incredibly powerful program. So since it is an in-person program, please, if you can extrapolate now on, what the challenges that COVID presented and how you've met those challenges.
So yeah, COVID obviously, like many direct service nonprofits, threw us for a loop, especially because we operate like prior to COVID, 100% of our programs were in schools. And so when school stopped on March 13th and we just never came back, that was it kind of cut our season short.
Sure. Cut a lot of things short.
Right. So we have been really fortunate in that Girls on the Run International was really quick on the draw with coming up with some creative solutions to help us reach and impact our girls when we couldn't be together. So within a couple weeks, they had come out with some Girls on the Run at Home, which was an activity kit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was a box that families could order online, and it had, I believe it had 8 to 10 lessons that could be completed either the girl by herself or with a family member. So it was nice because for parents that were like, hey, I just really need 20 minutes to get some work done or check into a Zoom call, the activities could be done independently, or after dinner, the family could do them together. So they were able to give that to us, and we utilized that in the spring and into the summer. And then this fall, we did have programs that met. Luckily for us, we're an outside program.
Yeah,
so we had a lot of spots that we could meet and still maintain social distancing. The only pivots we had really there were three main pivots we had to make. One is we had to find a place outside of a school because Austin ISD wasn't letting outside vendors on campus, which is understandable. So we were fortunate to find some community partners like University Christian Church and Austin Oaks here in Southwest Austin that let us use their space outside free of charge.
Oh, it's great.
So that we could continue. The second pivot was that some of the activities had to be modified because we used to do things like the human knot. And obviously you can't.
Not a socially
that is
distanced
not
human
a
knot.
socially distanced activity.
I
So
remember the human knot.
yeah, which was actually one of my favorites because it
Fair.
shows the girls the value of feeling frustrated and learning how to work through that. So Girls on the Run International came up with some curriculum modifications.
Sure.
And instead of sharing supplies, as Ryan, you might remember, we used to have a box that the girls would share markers and things like that. We have done just individual drawstring bags for each girl with her own supplies. And then the third thing is just that we ask the girls to wear a mask when they're not running.
Right.
So even though they are outside and they're 6 feet apart, they do wear a mask during the talking portion. And but obviously in Austin, when it's 100 degrees outside, we're not going to make them wear a mask while they're running. So but other than that, it's been pretty good. And I will say we honestly could probably, our enrollment is down, but I think that's more a function of us not being able to find enough coach volunteers. We could take more girls if we had more coaches. And I think our coaches are just especially strained because we're in a world now where our kids aren't in school necessarily, I mean, so people who used to be able to coach because they had a preschooler who was in daycare until 6 o'clock. Now can't do that.
Right. That leads me to the next question. Is how do people support Girls on the Run, both, with their time and their money? Do you have events, all those things, please?
Yeah, so events is a great question. We're not having a spring 5K. We'll just do small site-based 5Ks, but we are hoping to come back and do our fall 5K, which is generally the first or second week in December. And we always need volunteer running buddies for that.
Awesome.
It's a pretty small race. It's just for the girls, just for our little Girls on the Run community. It's people from the public can run it, but we don't really advertise it, so they tend not to.
Sure.
But we typically need a group of running buddies who we can pair up with a team to run with the girls and encourage them, because each team will have, like, let's say 10 girls and 2 coaches. Right.
I'm in.
So, within those 10 girls, you have girls that are going to smoke it and finish really fast, and then girls that might be walking. So we need running buddies to help out with that. And that's a great option for people that want to become involved but don't have time to coach. It kind of gets you to dip your feet in the program, and the 5K is obviously the most heartwarming part of the whole program.
Oh yeah.
So yes, tissues if you'd like to volunteer with that.
Already there.
And the other thing we always need is we just always need coaches, and that is a little bit more of a time commitment. It is twice a week for 10 weeks. Each practice is about an hour and 15 minutes long. So you're looking at probably 3 hours a week. We prefer if the coaches could do both days of the week, but we understand it's crazy. So if you can only volunteer once a week, we can find you a partner coach who can do the alternate day. And it's really not as scary as it sounds, because the curriculum is actually written word for word. So it tells you exactly what to say to the girls.
Yes. Yep.
My program manager and I do a training beforehand. So we clue you in on all the, like how to handle anything that might possibly come up with girls that age.
Mhm.
And you always have another coach with you. So you won't be coaching by yourself and trying to figure out what to do. You have a coach, at least one, sometimes two coaches with you. So for people that really love working with girls that age, you don't have to be a runner. I always say one of my favorite coaches tore her ACL halfway through the season, and she was still an amazing coach. Like they're on her crutches, passing out popsicles at the end of practice and things like that. So if you're not a runner, that's okay, because we have girls who aren't runners. They'll be walking. You just have to have, a love for empowering girls and making a difference and being silly and just being outside. We play a lot of games, disguise. It's exercise disguised as games.
Right. Yeah.
So it's really kind of a chance for you to act like you're 10 again. So we're always in need of coaches. Our spring season is already underway, but the fall season will start probably about the middle of September and will go until early December. So if you're interested in coaching, definitely check out our website at gotraustin.org, and you can get in touch with us and get some more info on that.
Mine and your people have been putting links on Facebook. So I've been putting comments in here. So that's great. Our people. I did not know what the word to say right there.
My people.
One of my members in my membership, her daughter is in Girls on the Run in, oh gosh, please tell me it's Wisconsin and not Minnesota.
No, both.
I get it mixed up. I'm sorry, Renata, in advance, but her daughter loves Girls on the Run. And it is just, it's so great to hear the impact it is making for sure. And the reminder about how you don't have to be a runner. I think that we want to discount ourselves. I mean, like think about programs where you're helping like girls with like STEM and all that stuff. Well, are you a scientist? Are you a mathematician? Like an engineer? Like, no, the best, well, it's amazing how many programs now the volunteer programs are set up so beautifully that there's no thinking. I mean, I won't say there's no thinking. It's all set up. You walk in, you're there. Like it's all set up for you. And there's no guessing, it's
very,
you're not creating, you're walking right in, and it's you, and you just walk through the steps. I just did not say that well at all, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I always say we make it completely turnkey. So like we give you all the supplies, we give you the training, we give you the curriculum. And it's really what makes the difference is the volunteer injecting their own personal stories and personality into it and kind of serving as a mentor to those girls.
I love the M word, mentor.
Yeah. I always tell my coaches, I feel like girls, because I have a teenage daughter, I feel like girls at that age assume that we as adults have it all figured out and that we don't encounter these situations that make you feel uncomfortable anymore. So the curriculum and the coaches inserting their own personal experiences, I think really drive home to the girls that you're always going to have an opportunity, until you're 85 years old, you will walk into a room full of people where you don't know anyone and you're going to feel weird. And here's how I deal with that, or you're always going to, find out that somebody was talking about you behind your back and here's what you do. And it's just the coaches sharing those personal stories, I think, that make the difference.
Yep. That is so true and needs reiterating. That as children, we think adults have it all together. And as adults, we think all other adults have it together.
Right.
And that is the complete opposite.
We're all just faking it till we make it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's just about trying as hard as you can and being who you are. And so anyway, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Is there anything I haven't asked you yet that you would love to share?
Oh, well, for anyone who's watching that might want to start a site, it's really easy if you want to bring Girls on the Run to your community.
Wonderful.
So hopefully in the fall we'll be allowed back on campus, which is the optimal situation because then girls can come to us just right after school.
Absolutely.
Parents love it because they get an extra hour and 15 minutes before they have to pick up. So, but if not, we do also have some great community sites throughout Austin. But if you're a parent watching or a grandma or an aunt and you're thinking, gee, I would love to have this at my kid's school, definitely reach out to us. It's very easy. Again, we provide everything you need. We'll talk to the administration. You really only need, especially during these present times, you really only need like 6 to 10 girls to start a team, anywhere between third and fifth grade or middle school. So yeah, and it's completely turnkey. We'll provide everything. We do all the registration. All you have to do is talk it up to your friends and introduce us to your principal, and we can make it happen if that's something you want to do at your
Right. It's
school.
not a hard sell. I mean,
No, and in
it was
fact, the
wonderful.
principal and the counselors always, I have never once in 5.5 years had somebody say, I don't feel like this is for us.
Right.
Never,
Yeah.
not one single time. But I
Right.
will say our programs work a lot better when we have someone inside that school community that's serving as a champion for us and saying, I'm going to sign my daughter up. I would love it if you would do it with her. That's how our teams get built. If you
Absolutely.
can't think of anyone who would want to coach with you, don't worry about it. We can help you with that too.
Right. Right. Are you having that wonderful cycle that happens that girls that go through Girls on the Run then become coaches?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
Well, my program manager, Tierney, her mother is the council director of Girls on the Run Houston and actually started it. And she was a girl on the run. And so she's coaching at one of our sites and she works for us. So that's exciting. And one of our board members that just came on was a girl on the run. So yeah, that's exciting too. And I'm hoping to conscript my daughter to help volunteer at our camp this summer.
Voluntold.
Yeah, it'll be something like that. There might be some Starbucks payment involved, but
There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah, so she was a girl on the run and she's in high school now. So I'm hoping to get her to help. But yeah, most people that we come in contact with say something more to the effect of, where was this program when I was a kid?
Oh my gosh. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
When I was a coach, so if you guys don't know, I'm a mom of 3 boys. And so when the program came around, I loved it. I was a triathlete and I was like, oh, this would be great. And, I would say, oh yeah, I'm a coach with Girls on the Run. People go, but you have boys.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh.
Yes.
I was like, yep, I want to borrow some girls for a while. So
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the whole mentoring aspect is huge. And I think anywhere we can add a mentoring, element to things. That helps mentor and mentee as well.
I agree, especially now during COVID when we're so insulated and girls really the only, mentoring and feedback they're getting is potentially from their immediate family, which oftentimes goes in one ear and out the other.
Right.
It's nice to be able to give them the exposure to other adults and other perspectives.
Yep. That reminds me, one last point I wanted to make was, speaking of exposure for the families, I did feel that there was a lot of ripple effect for families who had not been in a 5K type of situation.
Yeah.
When they came to cheer on their daughters for the 5K, and some of them would do their best to be running buddies. And I was like, yes, like planting the seeds.
Yeah.
Changing the dynamic. That's where the
Yeah, we
families
have
come
a
in.
lot of like parents and younger siblings. I always joke that somebody's little brother always wins the 5K. It's always like a 5-year-old little boy that
Yeah.
finishes it in like 20 minutes and throws up on the finish line. But yeah, we have a lot of family members that are out there with their girls, and it's really special, and it's getting the whole family out moving.
Absolutely. So amazing. So amazing. Such an incredible program. So amazing. I'm so great. So great to connect with you today.
Yeah.
And you remind me about the sparkly light and the star power. Oh,
Yeah.
so good. So good. Yeah, I'm definitely going to make myself available as a running buddy. I mean,
Yes,
I
for
can't
sure.
believe I haven't done
Definitely.
that all this time. So, and anybody watching and that intrigues you at all, definitely check it out.
For sure.
And we're gonna be back in person. I know it in the fall.
I mean, I really feel like this fall, by December, we should. I mean, for sure, be able to be back and have an in-person race, and we're really looking forward to that.
We're gonna definitely put all our energy to that. So
yes, exactly.
well, thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate getting
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you everybody that watched today and has watched any of the nonprofit shout out interviews. I really hope to give you inside information on what's going on and give you inspiration to see what you have in your schedule to be able to volunteer a little bit. Check out my YouTube channel. It's all about these nonprofit interviews, and you can binge watch it a little bit and maybe learn some things. So anyway, I will see you all next Thursday. And again, thanks for watching.